Hey guys, what's going on? FY My Pawn here, and welcome back to Across the Obelisk. Since we last left off, we managed to get to Arc 3, I believe, where we managed to get to the ice biome, and we are aiming for the boss this time around. And hopefully we get into the void and we can unlock those two last characters, and I'll be able to show you the other two classes at some point in time. But without further ado, let's just get into things and see what happens, because we've got quite a bit to do, I do believe. So yeah. Let's just go to the main street here. And yep, here we are. We can start by getting a level up. So we have our choice of Valiant Defender and Thunderclap. Thunderclap is good if you want to use Shot or Spark, and it deals double damage, but it's only good if you go the offensive route with Magnus. For Magnus here, we want to get Valiant Defender, because he's going to be dedicated to beefing up the blocks, mainly. So we'll get Valiant Defender. For our Rogue here, we're going to either want to go with Riposte or Serrated Weapons. The obvious choices go to Serrated Weapons because he is a bleed build. We can go with Riposte, but that's only so good if you want to focus on Mark. And that's mainly if you block. So we're going to go with Serrated Weapons because that's a common choice. Evelyn, on the other hand, is a bit unique. On one hand, Arcane Conduit's a really good card draw item, but because of how we're built with Evelyn, it's when you play a card with every energy used, you draw one. So she's going to be constantly stacking energy, which is a good thing, but it's not good with Arcane Conduit, because your deck fills up way too fast. So it's not that great. For Spell Echo, however, duplicating one of your strongest spells is actually a really good thing. So we're going to grab that. As for Reginald, the common choice is to go with Holy Symbol because it gives a resistance of 15% to all resistances. You also increase the heal received by 25%, and once you get to a certain threshold, 25% of your health, you become invulnerable for a second, and you recover 20% of the HP. Done. Whereas Holy Crusader deals additional damage with Sanctify and all that, which I'm not a fan of. I prefer Holy Symbol. But I digress. Now that we're over here, we've already done that, so we need to go to Encased in Ice. So let's do that. In the city square, you see several frozen elves, and many of them are encased in large blocks of ice. As you advance, you would swear that there is an elf encased in ice that is following you with his eyes. As you approach, you see something strange. The ice is somewhat different from the rest, and the elf does not seem to be in bad condition. You also notice that the elf is carrying a large bag that seems to be filled with gold and magic shards. What do? Now, normally I would do this if we had a fire mage, but because of the low percent, I'm not going to do it because it risks getting a curse, so we're not going to do that. It's too cold, so let's leave. Now we go to the palace stairs, and there is a corruption available to us. All monsters gain damage +5 and immune to vulnerable, but when a monster deals damage, it applies to slow and vulnerable. That is a bit too dangerous, so we're going to leave that alone. Alright, let's see. Okay, we start off with Valiant Defender. That'll give us a +5 boost to our armor blocking, so that'll give our defenses significant meaning. We'll get a Captain's Howl going to start weakening enemies. As for who we target, we're going to go for the one up front, I guess. But before that, we're going to use an Intimidate card to reduce it any further, and just slowly whittle him down with the Butchering card. Because why not? Alright, from here, Vigilance and Song of Celerity is the obvious choice to weaken the enemies. We'll get a Toxic Rain going. We'll get a Deflect, and now we got the Maneuver ability. We can probably get away with Uproot And do we want to do maneuver and shadow step, or we'll do shadow step instead. We'll save the maneuver for later. Once we get like a 3 mana or something card. Something like that. Anyways. Alright, we've got a Ray of Frost. What is in our deck currently? We've got some Cold Spark, some charged batteries. Do we want to replace any of these? I mean, we might as well. Let's see what we got. Cold Spark or Rain? Let's go with Rain. Well, no. Cold Spark so we can replace Cold Spark with Rain. Or Cold Spark with Cold Spark in the discard pile. Then we double down with Rain. We follow up with a mana gem to get high mana. We will deal more damage to you. And make sure you're weak as heck. There we go. Damage is accumulating on the Royal Guard in the front, which is nice. Alright, and that leaves us with the Prayer of Healing, which we'll use. Then a Prayer of Protection to beef up our defenses. And a Detox just to be safe. Of course, that's not going to save us from the Chill, which is going to reduce our speed constantly, but hey, we do our best. And now we wait for everybody else. Alright. Reinforce is unfortunately the slowest thing that's going to be hampering us, but hey. It's only as much a defense as we can probably get. But I digress. We will get a Deflect going. Alright, we are probably going to want Adrenaline. We'll use an Uproot. Alright, who's the most poisoned? I guess you are. You're basically primed for death. In that case, we're probably going to want to focus on somebody with high poison, so we could probably focus on the dude in the back instead. So we'll start focusing you. Oh, and this only focuses the front monster, so never mind. We'll get Adrenaline. And we'll get a lethal shot for the back, I guess? Or we could go with this. Let's go with the multi-shot. That way more bleed is applied to all individuals. Even if it's just a smidgen. Alright, we throw down Enrage. We'll get Battle Plan going. We should put Entrench on the back burner for now. And we should also do the same for Bleed Out, I'm thinking. Yeah, let's do Bleed Out, and that way we can do a Blood Rage, and we can intimidate the dude in the back. We can... Oh, do we not have Bleed? Oh, okay. I guess I can transfuse, I guess, all the same, and Blood Feed on the guy in the back. There we go. Get a full heal, basically, because Bleed stacks are helpful for Magnus at this moment. Alright, because of this, we get the Healing Rain. We can throw down an Anthem of Hope. Do we want to heal anyone? I guess Andron is the best choice here. And we will try and recover Magnus. Okay, there we go. That'll have to do. Ah! A Meteorite! What a perfect time for a spell. Unfortunately, we won't be able to get the spell echo of it, which does suck, but considering how much damage it's going to do, it's not that bad. I guess Elemental Proliferation. We will do Meteorite on you, I guess. That'll bring you to Death's Door. We will get Prismatic Field for everybody. And should we do... Yeah, we'll do an Electricity Manual on the charged battery so we have an extra attack for the next turn. And death should be soon to follow with everybody. Or at least these two are going to be taking next turn, I guess. But yeah, we'll be fine. Alright, we throw down an Entrench. We get a Piercing Howl, an Enrage. We will do Wolf Guard, Piercing Howl, Barbed Wire, and we will double the bleed on the Royal Guard in the front. There we go. From here, we use the Toxic Rain, serrated weapons, find weakness on the dude in the front. We will use Hunter Mark on the dude in the back. And I guess we use Sharpening Knife here, Shrapnel Shot to follow with more bleed, and Expert Tracker here. We will get rid of Profane for now. Innervates are fine, Spark of Life is fine. There we go. We just need our Cleric to be healing a bit more. Or Reginald, I should specify. And with that, we use Meditate to draw another card, which gets a low self-esteem, but that's fine. We'll just use Healing Rain to compensate. Then follow up with Spark of Life for massive heals, a Mass Dispel, and an Innervate on Andron. Alright, Evelyn's still paralyzed, but that's fine. We'll leave with that. And we wait patiently for the kills here. Alright, with this in mind, this dude has basically avoided death, but that won't help him. We're going to use a Lethal Shot here, weaken him severely. We'll get some Toxic Rains going. Find weakness, deflect, nothing. Okay. Well, at least he's got a ton of block, so that's a plus. Alright, Barbed Wire. Battle Plan. We want to put Entrench and Butchering next? Yeah, Butchering next. That way we can do a Blood Rage. We can do a Transfusion onto that dude and a Blood Feeding to recover as much health as possible with Magnus. And he's brought him into poison range, so death. And because Evelyn is useful, just charge battery. And charge battery. There we go. Not that bad. Not at all. First aid with a Dispel. Dispels bleed, it heals 10. I mean, it's a good sacrifice card, and we could get the upgraded version, which grants a buffer. But I don't think that's good for us, honestly. Condemnation, we're basically good on our clerics, so we're good on that. Shadow Binding. I mean, it does give Shackle, which reduces people to 0 speed, but I don't think it's wise for us to get. As for our Rogue, Poison Flask's a reasonable choice. If I want to stack up poison, of course, but I'm not going to do that. And honestly, First Aid, while it's good, it's not going to be something I grab. Too much cards. Alright. We can either get Shelter or we can attack him immediately. As you go up the stairs, you see the Frost Calamity resting in front of the Frozen Palace. That's a dragon. You realize it's not just any dragon, it's Feyborg himself. This ancient dragon roamed these lands and gave them their name many centuries ago. Feyborg is blocking the way, and doesn't even bother to come after you. The cold is extreme, resting is almost impossible, and your only option is to try and defeat him. So let's attack him immediately. Yes, we're a bit injured on Andron's side, but it's fine. We'll live. Thankfully, we lucked out on the roll, so we got a Trench, so that's going to be nice. We can get Blood Rage going, we can get Intimidate, and we can start Butchering to get some bleed off. So now he's going to be bleeding quite a bit, which is pretty good. We'll throw down Vigilance, Song of Celerity, so we're a bit faster. We'll use Serrated Weapons. And we'll use Shadow Step, and I guess we'll leave it at that for now. And let's just hope we have enough... Evelyn's paralyzed, great. I keep forgetting that Feyborg is a really annoying character to deal with. Mainly because of the paralysis, but it's still annoying to know that he's got that against us. Alright, let's fix our rogue up. Alright, who we're gonna buff up? Let's give Magnus some heals, I guess. Just so he supports against his bleed loss, I guess. The less damage he takes, the better, put simply. Alright, who are we going... What are we going to do here? I guess we'll start with Find Weakness. We'll use a maneuver to use Lethal Shot. That way we can draw some cards. We'll use Adrenaline to get some mana back. Use Deflect. We'll get a Toxic Rain as part of it. We can use Hunter's Mark. Or we could use... Yeah, let's use Hunter's Mark. And then we will follow up with Bane to... Oh wait, hold on. X equals the target's poison, apply to. Okay, so Bane's not that good just yet, so we'll go with Sharpening Knife to deal more damage. And we will use Expert Tracker here to funnel some good cards. Cold Burst will cancel out. And there we go. Okay, he's devoured some magic of ours, which is not good. He's managed to get one of our Fortifies, which does suck. Okay, we'll meditate so we get some more energy. We'll get some Healing Rain. We'll activate Spark of Life to give some more regen. Kind of wished Magnus would have been hit by that, but that's fine. Alright, Omen of Peril. We will get ourselves another Spark of Life. And we'll use that immediately. So our regen's up significantly. And we'll get Focus Heal activated. Ah, we got a lot of energy cards, so we're gonna throw down an Enrage. Get another Enrage going. There we go. We'll get a Barricade going. Now we can throw in a Piercing Howl. Barbed Wire for everybody. We'll transfer the poison and double it down. So that way he's got 18 bleed instead. And because of our spark, we're just throwing in pain. Okay, for this we're going to need to change our plans with Ray of Frost, but let's see what we got. Okay, we need to get Spell Echo first if we can, but I don't think that's going to be the case. Okay, we can draw either the Meteorite or the Cold Spark. I think the Meteorite's a golden choice right now, because we have the mana for it. And we will discard the Ray of Frost. Actually, no, let's discard one of the Rains. That way we can do the Meteorites, I believe, first. Let's see. We can apply Chill, obviously. We will use the Mana Gem to get enough mana to cast the Meteorites. Boom. We'll throw down a Rain. That will lose the fire, but that's fine. And we could use the Dark Ritual to get some more mana for Andron to spend. And then we go ham with Andron. We get Adrenaline, we get Deflect going. We will get Uproot, Lethal Shot, and throw in a Shrapnel Shot just for good measure. And a Toxic Rain just for sure. Because mana. It's a good thing I got plenty of heals. Otherwise this boss would be a lot harder. Alright, let's see. We can remove the blocking, but that's not going to do much. So let's get some more Healing Rain going. Increases wet value. We get a Protect from Evil, Prayer Protection. We'll do a Profane next, just to get rid of his heal buff. And let's start plowing into this guy again. Get Barbed Wire going. We will block with Wolfguard on him. We'll get a Piercing Howl, a Captain's Howl, just to make it worse. And we're at the maximum vulnerable of 55. Which is par for the course, honestly. Alright, let's go with a Cold Spark. A Shock Nova. Get Electricity Manual for Shock Nova again. And we don't have anything else there, so we'll leave that be. And we'll just slowly build things up. Dragon Roar, Frost Breath, Ice Prison, and Dragon Bite. Okay. So nothing too bad. Reflect, Toxic Rains. Uproot will purge the thorns if he has any, which he doesn't. He already has max vulnerable, so we'll leave that be. So we'll just go with Lethal Shot, which just deals more poison and bleed damage, which is good. Alright, we're going to want to use Mass Dispel here. As much as I would like to use other things, it's just in general better. So we won't be able to use much here, but that's fine. Okay. For this, we're going to want to use Battle Plan, I think. Yeah, we'll use... Alright, we have Burn, so let's use Battle Plan. Let's see what we get. Let us put Bleed Out and Blood Feeding next. No, let's use Intimidate, so that way we can get the combo off. So we use Barricade, Blood Rage for more mana, we Transfuse, and we Numb for healing. There we go. And now Feyborg is unsure what to do. We will use Elemental Proliferation. We will follow up with an Elemental Bolt, I guess? Elemental Bolt, we will throw down a Shock Nova for extra damage. And that is his turn next. And he'll be suffering quite a lot, I suspect. Because that's a lot of damage he's suffering, and he's basically on the ropes of death, which is good. Alright, from here we use Entrench. We follow up with Blood Rage. That way we can Butcher, and we can Bleed Out, and Intimidate just to make sure he's weak. So now he's at 400 bleed, which is basically near death. Alright, we won't be able to duplicate any good spells, so that's unfortunate, but we can Rain. We will spell Echo, and we'll charge Battery for twice, making him at the weakest. He is. And he's dead. There you go. And that is the third act boss. Ooh, Shield Wall's pretty good. It's a burn, but it's pretty good. I think we go with it, even if it's not that useful. Yeah, I think we grab it. Because I think we need more cards with Magnus. Alright, nothing good here, so we'll abandon those. Hidden Weapon's nice, but we don't have any small weapons. Neurotoxin is a pretty good one. But that's if we stack the poison quite a lot, which we don't do just yet, so we'll abstain from that. We get the chest, we get the items, and let's see what we choose. Alright, we got the Chalice of Kings. 3 Bless, 3 Sanctify, or 1 Sanctify. Alright, no, Healing done 3. We got some Bless and Sanctify charges +1, and we've got Holy Damage. That's a pretty decent card. There's also the Greater Mana Potion. I think the Minotaur Horn's way better for Reginald currently, strictly because of its benefits. Although, I will need to get him some armor, because he is currently the only one without armor. Alright, let's see. Evelyn, while I would love to give her the Greater Mana Potion, she does need to pass on the Heavy Package, so that is going to be something we hold off on. The Fable Scale, when you apply Chill, gain 3 armor. Thorny Ring helps if we have Thorn charges, which we don't. Okay. We should probably get something in replace of the Family Jewels, though. So we're going to have to keep that in mind. Alright. I think we get the Thorny Ring for Magnus, even though it's not that great. Alternatively, I could just get the greater mana potion, technically. Now, let's get the Thorny Ring. Greater mana potion can go to Andrin, maybe? Every 2 turns, gain 1 energy and gain 1 energize. Let me restart. Let's see. Would I prefer to apply 3 slow to all monsters or get more extra energy? I'm gonna go with the Thorny Ring. For Andrin, I think mana is going to be way better than what he's got currently, the Endless Bag, so I'll abstain from that. Alright, for Evelyn, the best I can think is giving her the Freezing Ink, but honestly, we don't play enough books for that to be warranted. I think it's better if we just skip for her. So we'll skip for her, and we'll give the Chalice of the King to Reginald. There. And then we can grab some stuff at the Act 4 thing. Time to cross the large portal, and do our last 2 quests. Okay, we've got to go to the airship, and then we got to go to the staircase, and we should be good to go. Alright. This is the last thing. Okay, first let's figure out what we're going to grab. Let's increase the rarity of items in Town Armory first. And let's see what we got here. Heart of Thorns. For every vitality charge you apply thorns. When you play a spell, apply 1 to all apply 1 sight to all monsters. That is literally a great spell to have. Spike shoulder pads. Max HP plus 30, 2 thorns charges. Interesting. 3 spark and... Okay, 3 spark and ranged attack damage. Damage with a hit, apply 1 spark. For every dark charges you apply 1 poison. 2 times a turn when you play ranged attack, draw 1 card. It's pretty good, actually. All damage plus 1 every turn, gain 1 thorns. Cast card Quillrain. Deal X ranged attack damage. X equals your thorns, or half your thorns anyways. I think it's better I go with the Crank Crossbow. So basically every time I play ranged attack, I draw a card. So that's going to be good with Andrin because he ranged attacks a lot. So I'll grab that. The Diamond Ring is a definite choice for the family jewels, so we'll grab that. Alright. I need to be very careful with Evelyn's choices though, because she can't take potion slots. Reginald... do I go with the Minotaur's Horn or the Clairvoyant Scroll? Sight only really sees things that you really need, but I don't need it, so I'll leave it. Lightning Spear. Damage with hit. Apply 5 spark. Compared to reducing the cost in the hand by 2, I think the Lightning Spear wins. Just a bit too much. Alright, for Magnus, all damage plus 1, and every turn gain 2 thorns. Cast card Quillrain. I mean, that doesn't sound that bad. I can combine it with Spike Shoulder Pads to increase thorns. That would mean I get 4 thorns every turn, which is interesting. The question is, do I want to do that? Because the resistance is really good for me right now. I'm going to abstain for now, because I don't really rely on thorns that much. I'm sure it's pretty good in certain circumstances, but not in mine. But yeah, we should be good to go. This is the best we can probably do there. Alright, let us remove the curse of low self-esteem. And let's start removing some cards just to make our deck a little bit more narrow. Well, before we upgrade. Well, no. Let's remove some cards we don't need. Okay, so Intimidate, we could probably lose 1. Get our card deck to 20. Andrin... I think the Bane can... Well, no, let's get rid of Sharpening Knife. And let us get rid of a Toxic Rain, because we have too many of those. Then we can go about upgrading Bane, so it's actually going to multiply poison as well. So we'll get the upgrade for orange here. For Magnus, we want to upgrade the Enrage to do the same thing as its other predecessor. But before that, we're going to get the battle plan that goes on the top of the deck to start with. Then we'll get the Enrage that gives 4 Fury. Alright, for Evelyn, she has quite a lot of cards. What do we want to get rid of, though, if anything? Not really anything, do we? Like, the Rains are gonna burn, Mana Gems are gonna burn. So it's not like I'm lacking in anything. Okay. How about Reginald? How's his stuff? 2 heals, 2 barriers, a ton of Healing Rain. Admittedly a bit too much, but that's fine. Enervate's fine. Yeah, I'll deal with the rest, it's fine. I think I can make do. Alright, with that, then our decks are basically done. We just need to upgrade anything that we haven't already, which is not a thing. Okay, we're going into the end act with a lot of stuff, I think, which is pretty good. Alright, let's get going. Okay, with this, we need to go to the airship to start with, so we're going to have to take the bottommost route, I think, for us to be the most successful. So we start with the runes here. Thorn proliferation. Absolutely not. We're not dealing with that issue. Alright. Let us start with an Adrenaline. Throw in Vigilance, Song of Celerity. Deflect for extra cards. Serrated Blade. Alright, who are we targeting first? I think we target the oddball, so go from there. And multi-shot. Done is done. That applies 4 stacks of the Serrated Blade as well. Alright, we follow up with Entrench. Get Barbed Wire, Captain's Howl. Throw in a battle plan to organize things. We will get a Barricade next, and we will use the Enrage next. For now, though, Blood Rage for extra mana. Okay, we sparked that dude, which is fine. And for every hit now with Evelyn, we are dealing we're dealing sparks as well. Mana Gem, Charge. We'll leave the Shifting Scroll. Honestly, I'm thinking of getting rid of Shifting Scroll at this point. Like, it's been helpful in certain circumstances, but not for others. I don't know. Alright, let us innervate Andrin, I guess? No, Magnus. Throw in a Prayer of Protection, and Omen of Peril, maybe? No, I'll save the Omen of Peril for later. When Spark of Life start going away. Alright, let's see. These guys are getting really fast, so I gotta be careful, but what we do is we take that blow. Bane is not going to be that useful just yet, so we're going to uproot. We'll use an adrenaline, and then we'll follow up with a Bane on this dude, I guess. Get his Bane up there. And for Evelyn, I guess, we determine what we use. We'll keep the meteorite, because it's always nice to have. Let's ditch the prismatic field, the transmission, and the energy manual. And I guess we can get rid of the normal charge battery in favor of the burnable charge battery. That way we can get more mana. Assuming we have enough mana at that point, but I digress. Magnus is suffering, but that's besides the point. He'll be fine, we'll heal him. Yeah, no, he's suffering with a lot of pain. Alright, let's throw down some rains. Let us throw down a meteorite. Alright, now the oddball's done. Let us use a charge battery on the Dark Vanguard here. Throw down an electricity manual to reduce the cost of that card, and there we go. Now for Reginald. He will focus on healing. We will start with Healing Rain, then move on with Spark of Life for random healing. We'll throw down an extra heal for Magnus, and a Protect from Evil to give us a buffer of AC. From here, Barricade, Enrage, Barbed Wire, Piercing Howl. We will double down on Dark Vanguard and Blood Feed for extra healing. There we go. From here, we will use Toxic Rain to clear up the enemies. We can use Maneuver to draw a ton of cards, so we'll do that on this dude, the Dark Vanguard. Okay, Deflect, Toxic Rain, Fine Weakness. We should be able to get away with a multi-shot. Yep, there we go. Deflect. Yep, there we go. And that's 144 block, jeez. Impressive. From here, I guess we use Valiant Defender, Enrage to get another card, Piercing Howl to reduce the weakness of enemies, Intimidate you, Wolfguard Magnus, and then just transfer any extra blood to Dark Vanguard here, so he suffers a lot of damage. Because he's basically half dead. Alright, nice try, man. You are near dead. Alright, we can either kill the Dark Vanguard here, or we go for somebody else. I think we just go for the kill here, make it easier on ourselves. So we'll just take him out. We will Transmission Andron. We will Dark Ritual Andron as well. Give him as much mana as possible. Reginald is doing rather well. Alright, we'll do that. Draw a card. Healing Rain up the wazoo. Do a Prayer of Healing. And Divine Grace to get rid of the darkness from Magnus. Alright, let's throw in a Toxic Rain. Let's find your weakness, my dude. Deflect. Deflect. Do a lethal shot. A shrapnel shot. And I guess Purge and Bane for you. You're looking a bit worse for wear, my dude. Oh right, I do have Shield Wall. That is an option. Boom. 132. Double the bleed there. And get a blood field off. There we go. Yeah, that was a tanky block. Alright, from here we just Cold Spark. There we go. That wasn't too bad. Challenging Shout. Self. Gain 43 block, 3 mitigate, and 3 taunts. That's not bad. Let's grab that. Mind you, it's a burn, but it's still pretty good. for burn. Yeah, it's a mythical card. Okay. Alright, well, I'll leave that alone. Last Requiem. We don't use music, so stanza 3 doesn't really matter, so we'll just get shards. Shadow Binding, not that good. Tome of Intellect might be good, but it only increases deck size, so probably not. Pain Suppression is good if it were multiple people, but I'm going to abstain. There we go. And off we go down to the merchant. Can we get a 30% discount? 5 or higher? Let's try it. Why not? Worst case, we don't get the discount, and we get a worse card. After talking to... Alright, sorry. Forgot dialogue. You come across a small shop, and as you approach, a man comes out from behind the counter and says to you, "Hello, travelers. Are you lost in this place too? After years of wandering these ruins, I've collected everything that seemed useful and set up this shop. Take a look if you like. I am also willing to buy any precious gems or rare items you may have, as well as offer you a small discount." And off we go. Bastion. All resistances 20, speed -2, +1 to charges of fortify and mitigate. For every fortify charge you apply 6 block. Okay, I'm absolutely buying that. So we're grabbing that. What else can we grab? Alright, so Bastion is already selected for. Savant Robe. All resistances +10, +2 heal done, +10% heal done. That's grab for Reginald. Amulet of Thorns. Interesting. Not what we're gonna go for. For every poison charge you apply 1 bleed. That's already something I've got. Fountain Pen is alright. Not what we're gonna grab though. Let's see. Do I apply poison with anybody else? Not really. The only other thing I can think of getting is really just armor. Honestly, being immune to dark would be really good. The question is, do I want to sacrifice... Do I want to do this? Well, it's not like we're going to get anything else better, so I'll sacrifice 6 resistance for max HP, 25%. And immunity to dark. Because why not? There we go. You know, I could have given that to Evelyn as well, now that I think about it. Meh, whatever. Amulet of Chaos, or Amulet of Thorns, I should say. Eh. Yeah, we should be fine. Alright. Thank you very much for your patronage. Let's go to the ruins. Yet another celestial brilliance. We don't need another one. We're good. We'll just go normally. Alright, they're going for the kill on many damage amounts. That's nasty. Vigilance, Song of Celerity. We will use multi-shot, I guess. But first we need to target who we're going to focus. We'll focus on you. There we go, multi-shot, Toxic Rain. And I guess just straight up uproot. No need to go any beyond that. Alright. We either go with... Well, I guess we can actually do both. We'll go with an Enrage. We will use the Shield Wall. Battle Plan. We will save Entrench and Wolf Guard. That way we can use Blood Rage and Barricade on everybody. There we go. 150 block, that'll do for my dude. Alright, Shifting Scroll. We should be able to replace a Rain for something better. Let's get a Charge Battery. And we will replace the rain for later. That way, we can get the mana gem going. We can focus on the oddball here. And an elemental bolt. Charge. Shot. There we go. And of course, the oddball is suffering quite a bit now. Let us use Healing Rain. It will move the wet or fire, but that's fine. We will throw down a Prayer of Healing. We'll throw down the... I guess the Barrier? Is it a heal, though? It is a defense card, so no, it technically isn't a heal, so... We'll just get Focus Heal, and then we'll be good. Okay. From here, we will use serrated weapons. We'll use adrenaline. We will use... Oh man, he's got shield generator. That's going to generate 10 block and 20 shields for everybody, which is not good. Thankfully, it seems like he only has to worry about that, so it's not that bad. But we'll Shadow Step, Shrapnel Shot, Deflect, Deflect, and we will Bane, I guess. Boom. Now he's suffering. Okay, everybody's lost their armor, but that's fine. We can use Entrench to block everybody up, and we will intimidate this dude again, just to make him even weaker. I kind of wish I could have used Challenging Shout, but everybody's armor comes first, so all the more important. Priorities come first, as you know. Okay, we'll throw down a Rain, that way we weaken them a bit. Then we can charge Battery again on them. We'll use that to get an Elemental Bolt for 1 cost. And we will use the Transmission to pass on mana to Magnus and Andrin. Whilst also losing more cards for Evelyn to work with, which is good. We will use a... Let's use a Detox for Magnus for now. We will use a heal on Andrin to recover him. We will use Divine Grace and Protect from Evil. Just to give ourselves some more mana, or block I should say. More defense the better after all. Alright, the oddball is currently in death's range, so that's good. Now we can focus on the Dark Lancer, which is going to be a bigger problem for us, I feel. But first, let's uproot so they no longer have thorns. Which sucks for them, I guess. Alright, we're going to want to deflect, see if we got anything else. Okay, Shadow Step certainly does us wonders. Multi-shot. Get some mana. We'll use Lethal Shot on the Dark Lancer in the back. We will use Expert Tracker on Evelyn. Okay. Cold Spark we can lose. Rain we can lose. There we go. And we'll use Maneuver just in case. At least for the next round. Okie dokie. Now we can throw down a Valiant Defense, Barbed Wire of the Wazoo, Piercing Howl. We can throw down a Butchering, I guess. Get him to death range, I suppose. From here, we've got quite a bit we can do. We'll start with Elemental Proliferation. Then we will attack the Vanguard. We'll pull down the Elemental Bolt again. Prismatic Field, follow with mana. There we go. Done is done. Hopefully the Dark Lancer dies in the near future, but honestly, we'll have to see. Alright, we are going to focus healing on, I guess, Magnus, because he's got weak defense currently. We will then throw in a Profane... Well, Do Profane? No. We'll use Healing Rain. What else? I guess Spark of Life. Just so we have it. Omen of Peril, so we can get another Spark of Life for later. Then we'll use Barrier Andrin. And we save the healing for later. Alright, Toxic Rain. We follow up with Find Weakness. Then we use Shrapnel Shot. Toxic Rain. Deflect. Deflect. And I guess we use Shadow Step. And either Bane or Multi-Shot. I'll go with Multi-Shot because it deals more damage overall. And it brings the Dark Vanguard low. Okay, now the Dark Gunner is at low HP. That's good. We'll use a Barricade here, give everybody block. We'll use Enrage to get Battle Plan, which will allow us to draw some cards. We will save Challenging Shout for later. And what else? Let us save Captain's Howl for later, why not? That way we can use Blood Rage. We will use Wolf Guard on him. Piercing Howl. We'll transfer the block there and attack. There we go. Damage. Unfortunately, it's not enough for him to outlast. Alright, this dude's gonna die his next turn, so that is honestly not a worry. Oh, goody. Spell Echo Meteorites, let's do it. There we go. Death. I completely forgot about that combo. Yeah, no, that's deadly. That is like 150 damage twice, which is really good. Yeah, we're gonna get shards. Do we need anything here? No, shards. So, shards. Okay. All of them shards. Okay, we have to go to the Corrupted Bell. Now, do we want to go and ring the bell for a discount? Let's give it a go. Why not? We've got some high-cost cards. Let's get lucky. Nope. Alright, price increased by 30 and we got low self-esteem. Great. Challenging Shout. Do we think we can get that? 3-cost buffer? We could go with a Barricade as well. Bleed. All monsters. No. Butchering. Challenging Shout. Keeping Entrench as is good. Let's try and go for the Challenging Shout. Why not? Let's go. Success. Alright, Challenging Shout is now a cursed card. Bane. Do we want that? No. Vigilance is fine. Well, if we can, we can. Draw 1, apply 3. Toxic Rain. Apply 5 poison, 3 wet. Ooh, that's really good. Yeah, why not? Let's go for the chance. Alright. Corrupted Toxic Rain. Draw 1, gain 11 block, no. Gain 2, 1. Okay, that's tempting. Okay, for her, we're going to want to focus on the Rains, I guess. Let's focus on Reginald first. All heroes dispel fire, grant 3 regeneration, heal 18. It's really good for a burn card. Ooh. How about this? What's this? This is apply 5 global. What's the Omen of Peril? Reveal 3 healing spells from your draw pile and put 1 into your hand. Cost reduced by 2. Nah. Spark of Life, Jump 5 is pretty good. Honestly, I think the heal is pretty good in of its own rights. We'll leave it. Let's see, what else can we do? Pick one lightning spell from your discard pile and put it into your hand. That is tempting. Putting it into my hand is a lot better than, you know, getting it elsewhere. Let's try it. Yeah, there we go. Let's go for the second chance. Let's go for it. Fail. Okay, rip. Void memory. Oh well. Rip. And we'll leave it at that. Let's go. Okay. We're going to have to get rid of void memory and low self-esteem at some point, but that's fine. Yeah, no, this is... No, we can't give them Sacred Ground. As much as I want to. Let's just say there's reasons for certain circumstances of chances that I need to avoid. Alright, Vigilance. Song of Celerity. Toxic Rain. Serrated Weapons. Deflect. Maneuver. Shrapnel Shot on the Dark Monk or the Dark Lancers? Dark Monk first. Then we Adrenaline. And we should be good. I'll do it on Magnus so he has a choice of items. Let's get rid of Barbed Wire, and we'll keep Blood Rage because that's good. Enrage will give a draw, and Battle Plan will help us in the future. Okay. Battle Plan to draw 3 cards. Alright, we need to put 2 on top of the deck. We'll get... Let's get... We'll get Bleed Out on the next part. And we will get... Alright, no, we start with Blood Feeding, then Bleed Out. That way we can use Enrage freely. So Blood Rage, block, Enrage, so we get the Bleed Out, which I kind of didn't want, but that's fine. Barbed Wire, we'll Intimidate, Transfuse, and double the bleed on this Dark Monk. There we go. Not the best results, but it's results. Alright, Shifting Scroll. We get Cold Spark versus Rain, so we'll just replace Rain. There we go. Cold Spark. Charge Battery. Array of Frost. Mana Gem. Boom. And now for Mass Healing, and hope to heck we do well. Healing Rain. Focus Heal for Prayer of Healing maximum power. And we'll Spark of Life it. We won't be able to use Profane, but that's fine. They don't have enough buffs yet. Okay. To this front, we will save a single uproot for later. But for now, we're going to find weakness, we're going to uproot, we are going to Shadow Step and a Lethal Shot the Dark Monk to death. Or death range, I should say. And by the time it reaches his turn, he should be dead, because he's not using healing, which is good. Alright, we're going to want to use Shield Wall here. Unfortunately, I would love to, but no. We're going to use Entrench. It's just a little bit better. We are then going to follow up with Piercing Howl, I say? We'll do Piercing Howl. That way we can butcher in the back there. And there we go. We'll start focusing on the Dark Lancer in the back now. Okay. We don't have any card draw for Evelyn to benefit from, so that is off the table, so Let's just use the meteorites and save ourselves some trouble. Then we will charge battery, rain, mana gem, prismatic. That way we get a buffer of energy. Okay, we just spam healing rain here. There we go. Get some heals. We will heal Magnus a little bit and get the prayer protection going. Easy enough. Oh man. Alright, hopefully this is enough for the Dark Monk to go down, but we'll have to see. Alright. Yep, he's gone. Good. I was kind of worried there for a minute. Thankfully that's not the case. Good. Alright, we should be able to... Oh man, they've got a lot of thorns, don't they? Great. Let us be careful, I guess. We are going to want to make sure he is in Death Door. So... Adrenaline, and then make sure. Okay, that should be enough. We don't need to attack him anymore, hopefully. Unless he starts healing. X equals your vitality, so he's going to deal 13 a lot. Okay, Valiant Defender, Challenging Shouts, Captain's Howl. Hopefully this is enough. Okay, he's dead already, so that's good. Their lightning's coming in clutch. That does leave the Dark Lantern, though, which isn't good. And we should probably get rid of the thorns at some point, but one thing at a time. Oh. Wait, hold on. Oh, right, it's discard pile. Interesting. Yeah, void memory rip. Oh well. We will Dark Ritual Andrin, so he has more chances to get the card that he's looking for. But for now, we will just focus on healing. We will use, I guess, Mass Dispel. But first, let's use Spark of Life so everybody heals up significantly. Healing Rain. Then Mass Dispel. There we go. Most of the negatives are gone. Okay, from here we can actually use Uproot. Now they no longer have thorns, which is perfect. We will use Shadow Step, Lethal Shot, follow up with Deflect, another, and we will find Weakness, Shadow Step for the multi-shot at 2 cost, and there we go. Okay, we'll use Enrage to get more mana. This will give the Entrench that we need for everybody, and then we'll give Thorns. That way we got a little bit of protection from them. Yeah, these guys are regretting it. Okay, let us use Spell Echo. That way we can throw down 2 Elemental Bolts. Charge Battery, and done. Easy when you get the chance to focus. Vanish. That's an interesting one. Dispel Bleed and Poison, but gain 2 Stealth. That's pretty nice, but I'm going to avoid it. Nightmare, while it's a good corrupt card, it's not something I'm going to use. Right, so we're going to void those. Yeah, let's void those, and yeah, let's void the last one. There we go. Now we can go to the airship. You come across a large airship. As you approach, a strange squid-headed humanoid with black eyes emerges from the deck and says to you, "Come aboard, travelers. I'm Sinemo, captain of this merchant ship. We sail the void between worlds in search of exotic relics and lost knowledge. We have been waiting for you. Did you bring the package?" Here's your package. Sinemo thanks you for delivering the package. He gives you a token from his crew as a thank you, and lets you see his new wares. He also tells you that there's a perfect place for meditation in the upper ruins. If you want to reach its full potential, you must press several runes with colored gems set on them. The colored order is yellow, green, and purple, and he gives you the purple gem. With the delivery done, Nesglet is free to travel the world. And we get a 30% extra discount to the Magic Forge, altars, and item shops. In addition to getting something from here. I'm sorry, what? One time a turn, when you play a card, put a copy of it in your hand. Cost 0 and vanish. That's too good to pass up, I'm sorry. We'll be losing the 30% discount though. We already got the crank crossbow, we've got the buffer here. So I guess we... let's see. I've got to grab this for Evelyn. Like, it's too hard to pass up. Getting a duplicate of your card, especially if it's a fireball, is just too good to pass up. Alright, let's grab that. Plate mail. All resistance is 22 max HP. Yeah. We'll grab the plate mail instead of the blackguard. Greater mana potion is nice, but for who? I guess we can give it to Magnus so he has more mana to work with. Or we get the Amulet of Thorns. Between the two, I think the Amulet of Thorns is more weighty here. Even just by a little bit. Yeah, let's grab it. Fuck it. Alright. We've now got the Void God Squid Man. Not sure what we're going to do with him, but we'll see. Alright. Upwind. All monsters gain speed 5. Combat start. All heroes suffer 4 slow. I'm sorry, but no. Okay. Let's do this. 2 mana gems and electricity manual to start with, jeez. Okay, let's start with a meteorite, why not? Let's discard Ray of Frost. Oh, right. Bugger it. Let's discard Rain, okay. Let us use mana. And let's start with a meteorite to the... let's start with the Psychic, I guess. Mana gem. And we will pull nothing. Because we didn't get anything from the discard pile that's electric. Great. Vigilance. Song of Celerity. Serrated Weapons. Deflect. Uproot. There we go. Okay, from here, we use Battle Plan. Okay, we've got a block card. We put that for later. As for Wolfguard, it is enchantment, so we don't need to discard it just yet. Do we need to apply slow to everybody? We should probably do that. We can save our bleed outs for later then. We will then use Valiant Defender, Wolfguard, Barbed Wire, Captain's Howl, and Blood Rage. Done. Now we can get the Reginald Heal status going. Which is, I believe, an intense amount. We start with the normal heal. We'll go with Spark of Life next. A Divine Grace is fine, but we'll leave it alone in favor of Profane on the Psychic for extra damage. And now we patiently wait. Damage is going in the clutch, nice. Not a fan of that buffer though, I must admit. That's not nice. Alright, let's see. We're going to want to find weakness, Hunter's Mark. We'll do a shrapnel shot, a maneuver, and bane it up. There we go. For a toxic rain as well. And adrenaline, I guess, for a multi-shot. Why not? Now he's in Death's Door perfectly. Okay, from here we will use Entrench, get some more mana in favor of getting Shield Wall. We'll lose out on anything else, but we got 210 block for it, which is way better than anything we can ever hope for. We use Elemental Proliferation here. We use it... Oh, we can use it twice technically. Right. We will use Rain. Then we will follow up with a Shot. And we will go with an Elemental Bolt to the Dark Monk. And for that we will go with Transmission for Evelyn, because she'll need it. But hey, we technically can make infinite Elemental Proliferations then, if I'm correct. Alright, get some mana, Healing Rain, so get a Focus Heal and a Master Spell. There we go. Reduce some of the debuffs that we're suffering. Ah! That man is using Thorns. Not good. Ah, Dementia and all that. Too bad for him that he's dead. What next? What next? Alright, we've got quite a few who are weak to us currently. Let us start with the Find Weakness. We'll use Adrenaline to beef up our stats. Then we'll Shadow Step and Multi-Shot for extra damage. Shrapnel Shot for extra damage. And we will throw down a Elemental Tracker to void memory and low self-esteem for now. The rest will leave, because I'm sure they'll be good. Okay, follow up with 2 Rains. Make that 3 Rains, it seems. Alright, we will charge Battery, Prismatic Field, and we will boost up Magnus's mana. There we go. Enrage, Piercing Howl for slowness, Barbed Wire, Intimidate, and Transfusion if we can, but probably not. There we go. Still, not that bad. From here, we can Healing Rain, we can Detox with ease, we'll throw in a heal to be safe, Anthem of Hope, Spark of Life for everybody, just because we can, and we'll save the barrier for later. Because it's a heal that doesn't recover, or at least doesn't recover mana. Alright, we patiently wait. Alright, let's cycle some cards. What we got? We need to take out these 2 guys, so we will start with the guy in the back. We will remove their thorns. We will throw down a Shrapnel Shot, and we will follow up with a Lethal Shot. There we go. That'll bring the Dark Monk to Death's Door. From here we use Challenging Shout, Blood Rage, Barricade, Piercing Howl, Butchering, and we finish off with a nice Blood Feed for a massive heal of 150. Of course we're going to need to deal with this bleed now, which is another issue. Oh right, Spell Echo. That's right, that's a thing. We can double down on the Spell Echo. So we'll do that. We will throw down a Cold Spark. That. Alright, we will Oh, Spell Echo Shock Nova. There we go. My bad. I forgot. Spell Echo. I was going to use that. Circle of Healing. That's a really good spell, but it needs to be a burn if we want to take it, to be honest, so... No grab here. No grab here. Nothing for this group, unless Rain of Arrows were an upgraded card, which it's not. Barrage is nice. I don't think it's what we want here. Let's see. I can either have it apply 3 bleed, or apply 1 that. I mean, I could see the use of it. It's basically... It's 25 bleed, and a lot of damage. I will grab Provoke for our tank, and I will grab Barrage, because it's just a good spell. And now we got the twins. Let us go attack. Oh boy, it's time we deal with Dawn and Dusk. Alright, who are we going to target first? Well, first and foremost, I need to decide who am I targeting. I guess Dawn, because he has the weakest element here. And electricity is going to reduce it anyways. So I will start with Cold Spark here. Cold Spark again. We will use... let's use Ray of Frost. Mana Gem. Transmission to Andrin, I guess. Go from there. Alright, Vigilance, Song of Celerity, Adrenaline, Serrated Weapon, and Maneuver. We'll save the last Adrenaline for later. Okay, let us throw down a battle plan, see what we got. We'll save the Entrench for later, and we'll save the Bleed Out for later. Captain's Howl to reduce their speed, Barbed Wire, Piercing Howl, Blood Rage, and Butchering for extra damage. Alright, and now we got Reginald. Let us beef up the healing. Healing Rain. Spark of Life. Alright, Divine Grace, Anthem of Hope, and Barrier will leave. Because it is still a 23 heal. Okay. That's a lot of block you guys got, jeez. Okay, we'll throw down a Deflect, I suppose. Oh, they took my Fortify, I think. That's not good. And for those of you who are watching, we do not want to attack Dawn currently because he currently has the Dawn Punishment. If he is damaged, he deals 14 holy damage, and he applies 3 Sanctify and Burn to all heroes. So each attack against him is nasty. We do not want that. Instead, we're going to focus now on Dusk, who is currently not suffering any negative effects. We will throw down a Uproot, just for the sake of it, Deflect. Then we will follow up with a Shadow Step Lethal Shot for extra damage, Hunter's Mark, and we will use Bane to increase the damage of Poison, and we will use Expert Tracker here. This is to get rid of low self-esteem, and probably get rid of the Rains, because we don't need as much of those, to be honest. And now for Evelyn. I just have to keep in mind that she's got 2 castings of whatever she wants. If I had enough mana, I would use the meteorites, but I don't, so that's sadly not in the options. We will use a mana gem instead, so that way we can at least have a ton of mana to work with. Alright, before we cast that, we're going to use Elemental Proliferation. We'll use Rain. We will then apply the Meteorite, I guess? Yep, Meteorite. Boom. Mana Gem for extra damage. And throw in the Elemental Bolt and Charge Battery for extra spark damage. Whew. Alright. From here, we can throw down and meditate, get some more HP there. We can use Profane here if we so desire, but first we'll use Healing Rain. We'll then use Innervate on Magnus for more mana, so he can potentially cast a new spell. Or another spell, I should say. We'll then throw down Profane to debuff, Omen of Peril for a Spark of Life, and throw that down. And we'll get a Focus Heal prepped for next turn, for when Magnus needs it. For now, though, we throw down an Entrench, we get Provoke going, Piercing Howl, and because we can, we will... Oh, we can't. Rip. No energy. I wanted to double the bleed on Dusk, but I guess that's not the chase. Alright, now we can't target Dusk, because he has the buff currently. So now we gotta focus on Dawn, unfortunately. So, yeah. From here, we'll Toxic Rain. Mind you, things like status effects do not trigger the Dark Punishment. So, if you see me applying things like Poison or like Purge or whatnot, these are going to work. Anything else doesn't, though. So Uproot, we will Barrage with like crazy. There we go. Intense Bleed. Find Weakness for weakness, and Shrapnel Shot just for extra power. Alright, let us Spell Echo, I guess. Let us Spell Echo, so we get another Spell Echo. Now we can double down on the Shock if we so desire. Shock Nova. And we can do it another time if we so desire, which I'm probably going to do. So we will Spell Echo again for Shock Nova. And another Shock Nova. Alright, that reduces our health a lot, but that's fine. We'll follow up with another Charged Battery, and then we'll throw that, so we get another... We'll get our Elemental Bolt back, which we will save for later. Oh well. Thankfully, because we have it, we do have tons of Prayers of Healing, so boom, that'll heal us up nice. We'll get Healing Rain going. We'll Spark of Life to get ourselves some more regen. And we will debuff, I believe. Yep, we'll debuff. We'll remove debuffs. There you go. Done and done. We will throw in Enrage to get more mana. We will get a Challenging Shout to get more taunt going from Magnus. Valiant Defender. We'll Intimidate the heck out of Dawn and transfer anything we can, which we can't. That's fine though. We'll live with it. Alright, Dawn is reaching the near capacity for death. Oh, but 291 damage offhandedly is really good. And yeah, this man is dead. He just doesn't want to realize it yet. Alright, well. Let us get some adrenaline. Let's find the weakness. Shadow Step, Lethal Shot. There we go. He is going to suffer a lot, I suspect. Alright, well... Rain. Rain. Charge Battery. Yeah, no need to go any further than that, I suppose. Let's see, can Reginald take the... Oh, Pain. Healing Rain. Let's do a bit of a... Let's do a heal, a barrier, and we'll throw down block for Evelyn. Why not? And then there's Magnus. We will just entrench. Oh. We'll just let him die. Bugger it. No need to go any further than that. Oh, he's trying to heal, but he can't. He can't out-heal the damage. Energizing Serenade. Jeez. That is impressive. And then of course we got Citadel, which is yet another burn card that we could grab. Let us go with... Well, we don't need shield wall, so let's grab Citadel. Why not? Barrage we'll leave alone. Mass invisibility, yeah, we'll leave those alone. Well, actually, evocation would be pretty good. We'll grab evocation because it's nice. And we'll leave the rest. There we go. And now we've leveled up. And we've got some new items we can choose from. Interesting. Lightbringer. All damage plus 3. Plus 1 charges to bless. When you apply bless, deal 5 holy damage and apply 1 sanctify to the highest HP monster. This is oddly a good item for Reginald. Damage by other gain 2 mitigates. All resistance is 25 though. It's pretty good. Let's give that to actually Evelyn, because she is looking for a better defense item. So we'll give Iron Fortress to her. When you play a melee attack, draw 1. All resistance is plus 18, speed plus 1, immune to mark, max HP 14. I'm going to keep the plate mail because it's a bit better. Crank crossbow is pretty good, but we'll leave that. I could apply bless, but no, I'm good on that. We don't even apply bless. Do we want this? Not really. We will replace the Continuum Blade, I suppose. So I can have Magnus draw more cards, which is pretty good for him. Do I want to, though? Magnus is pretty good, alright. Okay, Yeah, no, I'm pretty good on things. Speed plus 3. It really depends. Do I want to get rid of overheat? No, we'll keep what we got currently. I'm good with that. Alright, from here we ascend the staircase. And we now get to choose between Weapon Expert and Tireless for Magnus, which is really simple. Basically, we get plus 1 energy, and we become immune to fatigue, if we ever get it, which is a really good one. Or we get Weapon Expert, which is a plus 7 damage. I'm going to go Tireless. That's just good for him. Andrin, Marksmanship. When you play a ranged attack card, gain 2 sharp. That's a good choice. Mark for Death is good if you use Mark skills, which I don't use a lot of. So we're going to go with Marksmanship, strictly because of the sharp bonuses. Evelyn. We can use Glass Cannon or Elemental Weaver. When you play a Fire Spell, Cold Spell, or Lightning Spell, gain 1 energy, once per turn for each card type. So basically, if you have a Fire, Cold, and Lightning spell, you can basically use this spell as a means to get 3 additional energy from the cards. Alternatively, you sacrifice 25 HP for 60% damage, which is way better. I'm going to grab that. Reginald has the choice between Reverberation or Archangel. Reverberation just helps with his holy damage, which allows you to reduce the cost of your highest holy spell card in your hand by 3 until discarded, 2 times a turn. Archangel, however, increases heal done by 30% and heal received by 10%, in addition to a plus 1 to bless. I'm going to grab Archangel, strictly because of its benefits. Now, I have a choice. I can either go to the colored runes with the purple gem, or I unlock the character. Because of the goal I aimed for, we're going to unlock the character, so we need to go the upper route of the ruins. And by the time we are done, and going around this area, we have the moment of truth by dealing with the final boss. By this point, usually I win most circumstances, but I don't want to get cocky and assume. So we're just going to take this one step at a time. We're not going to deal with the Tabula Rasa, so we'll avoid that. Now we have a choice of who we focus on. I'm going to focus on the angel at the back, personally. I feel they are the most dangerous in this fight, and that's just my personal choice. Okay, we find weakness. We uproot, and uproot for extra poison. So yeah. Okay, enrage will get us provoke. We'll get a battle plan going. Now, do we want... We'll save entrench for later, and we will save provoke for later, actually. Yeah, that works. We will then use challenging shout to get the taunt off. Barbed wire. We'll throw down wolf guard to make some more defense. Get intimidate, and we will siphon some blood via blood feeding. Okay. Vanguard suffering quite a bit already. Jeez. Throw down some healing rain. We shall throw down a... I guess a holy barrier for... do we need it? No, honestly. We'll use protect from evil to at least give some buffer. And we will use a holy symbol on Andrin just in case. Just in case he does reach that point where he's near death. But who knows. At the very least, the taunt will do a lot for us, I'm assuming. Okay, from here, we do a Ray of Frost, I think? Yeah, a Ray of Frost, and then we get a duplicate with a 0-card vanish. So, boom. Boom. We do a mana gem to get some more mana. Then we can use Elemental Bolt. Then we can use Transmission to get more mana for Magnus to work with next turn. And Shifting Scroll's just a dump, so we'll get Rain and dump that. There we go. Yep, as I figured, he's a healer. So we need to deal with the angel as soon as possible. Alright, let's throw down a serrated weapon. We'll use Shadow Step for shrapnel shots. Hunter's Mark and Expert Tracker on Magnus. We save... No, we leave those. Honestly, I'm satisfied with all those cards. So he just gets a 1 draw from that. That is a lot of Sanctify, jeez. Alright, we use an Entrench. We leave the Provoke for now. Barbed Wire, Blood Rage. We Transfuse and Bleed Out. There we go. We can save the top for later. Vanguard's going ham, or at least trying to. Whew, okay. Oh, right, we do have Celestial Brilliance, technically. Alright, let us use... Master Spell, maybe? No, I think we use Omen of Peril to get a Healing Rain. Then we Detox and go from there. Alright, from here, now we can use Mana Gem to get more mana. We'll do it again so we can get the Meteorite off, which will kill the Angel. Then we want to charge Battery on the Knight because he casts 3 types of cards every turn, which is not good. We want to focus him if we can because he provides a lot of block. Alright, we'll use Maneuver so we can use Barrage and get 4 cards out of it. Massive amounts of bleed, which is nice. We will get Adrenaline going twice. We will use Shadow Step, use Lethal Shot, draw some cards, and find weakness. There we go. And the dude's basically dying in front of us, which is good. Okay, from here, we will throw down Enrage. We'll use Valiant Defender. Rip. Oh well. Shield Wall, Captain's Howl. We'll save the Citadel for later. Okay, we wait, and yeah, we should be good to go. Meditate, Healing Rain, Anthem of Hope for extra card draw in addition to healing. We'll heal Magnus, we'll heal Andrin, and then we'll throw down a Prayer Protection for extra AC. Not a lot, but enough. Okay. From here, we will use Rain. A lot, I guess. We don't need Elemental Proliferation just yet. Prismatic Field for extra defense. Then we throw down more mana for Andrin, I guess? There we go. Okay, we'll get some deflects going. Let us get Shadow Step, multi-shot going. That'll draw a card. We will find weakness on the Vanguard. Or who do we want to find weakness on? We'll go for the Vanguard up front because he has less armor on currently. And we will go with... Do you want Lethal Shot or Barrage? Barrage is actually way better because it deals damage multiple times. Yep, there we go. Done. Now they're basically on bleed status, which is good. Means these guys are going to die next turn, which is good for us. And Citadel, interesting. Let's go with... Alright, so 3, so 6, 5, 4. Let us get the Barricade on. We will use Butchering on the guy in the back. We'll use Piercing Howl, and then we will double his bleed. There we go. Big damage. Oh! He used a heal. I see. Smart move. Well, I mean, they last for one more round, I suppose. It won't be long-lasting, I'll tell them that much. Okay, let's use Spark of Life, so we get more healing off. Healing Rain. Let us get a Innervate on Evelyn, so she has more mana to work with. I will use another Spark of Life. And then I will use Profane on the gunner in the back. Alright, I'll throw Focus Heal on, and I need to be right back for a moment. Alright? See you in 5 minutes. Just gotta do family stuff, that's basically it. Okay, apologies, I'm back. Alright, let's see. We can't do more with Reginald, so we go back to Evelyn. And let's see, what do we want to do? I think we spell Echo for an electricity manual for Elemental Bolt. Then we spell Echo that Elemental Bolt into the Gunner. And then we do it again. Then we Cold Spark the one over here. And we can Rain. Evocation will do us more mana, but it's fine. It just gets rid of the cards, basically. Alright, we will focus on the Knight again. Make sure we barrage him down. But first, let's see if we can get a stealth card. Perfect, we got Shadow Step, which is what we wanted. Shadow Step, follow up with the barrage. Done. And we don't need anything else, so we'll just hope that that's enough. We will Blood Rage, we will pass on the Bleed Over, we will Blood Feed, Entrench. There we go. Let the rest die. Ah, that's half my... Okay, that's half the bleed. Good thing he died before that became a pass-on. Oh, that's pain. Okay, for this, I think we're going to want Poison Flask with the... Or do we go Poison Flask? It does apply Vulnerable now. Rain of Arrows, we'll be fine without it. Okay, we'll get rid of that. Mass Dispel. Dispel 5, grant 4 buffer. That's a good one. We'll grab that. Poison Flask, we will grab, I guess. It'll increase our cards, but it's fine. We've got way too much anyways. Let us use the Chapel Service to remove cards. Alright, first, let's get rid of all our curses of low self-esteem and all that. Remove. Void Memory, we'll remove that. Let's remove the low self-esteem. Alright. I don't think there's anything we want to remove beyond that. Yeah, we'll be fine with whatever we got, I guess. Yep, that'll do. Alright. You arrive at some ruins where the soil seems very fertile, and many exotic plants that you have never seen before grow. Walking through the garden, you find some berries that look edible, but what catches your eye is a large patch of fertile soil. This seems like the perfect place to plant Ylmer's seed that has been entrusted to you. What do? You dig a small hole in the fertile soil and plant Ylmer's seed. Carefully, you make sure to correctly plant one of the few remaining Ylmer seeds. You have done the right thing, and the prosperity of a new treant is guaranteed. Bree can now return to Cynthia Forest without any regrets. And we now have unlocked the last character, Bree. And now we can move on to the Ancient Altar. We will try to get a discount. If we can't, that's a shame, but hopefully we do. Which we did. Thankfully, we got a 50% discount. That is going to be fantastic when upgrading cards, so let's see. We are going to get the lower cost Citadel in favor of the higher cost because the higher cost is 9 mana, and I've noticed Magnus does not get that high mana, so going with the 7 cost is a bit better. We can also transform them to be Burns or Innate or whatever we want to do, but I can basically arrange this however I like. For Provoke, we're going to want to make that a 1-cost card so it's free for the future. Andrin, we want to focus on Barrage, so we're going to focus on the 6-cost Barrage, which applies 5 bleed and 1 sharp. That is going to basically give us 5 sharp instead, which is really nice. For Evelyn, Evocation is basically a 1-cost card if we make it, but I'm going to go with the 3-cost to charge instead, because the burns are more important here. As for anything else, it really depends on us. But either way, I'm fine with whatever. I think what we want more than anything instead of an energize is we're probably going to go with the... Oh wait, this draws 2 cards technically. Let's go with the actual meditate, which gives us more mana, so we'll go from there. Omen of Peril's fine, Mass Dispel's fine, Prayer of Healing's fine. Prayer Protection we can deal with, Prayer Protection from Evil's good. Alright, that's good. Anything we need to change here? Not really. Shock Nova's fine as... We should probably do Shock Nova as a burn instead of a keep. Elemental Bolt is going to be a keeper. We just need to keep on the burn and spark means. Dark Ritual's fine as it is. Charged Battery's fine as it is. Do we want to change it back into normal? No. We'll leave it as is, I think. That should be good. Andrin's also good, so yeah. Alright, let's go. To the next, second to last fight. Every round, all heroes suffer 9 poison. Ooh. Double targets darkness. That's a pretty good card if I were to grab it, but... I'm fine. We'll leave it. Alright, so we either focus the Angel or we focus the Psychic. The Psychic's dangerous, but the Angel's a healer, so it really depends on us. Alright, Toxic Rain. Yeah. So it's gonna use Purify, then it'll follow Holy Smite. So if we focus anyone in particular, then it's basically going to be moot on what we do. We'll use Adrenaline, Deflect. Let us use Poison Flask on the Angel. That way it's not going to heal itself, I hope. We'll use Enrage to get more mana. Use Battle Plan. We can then put Citadel on the back burner. And we can follow up with... do we want Enrage on the back burner? No, I think we go with... Piercing Howl? Yeah, Piercing Howl. That way we can get another Enrage off. Blood Rage, Piercing Howl, Shield Wall, and then we can throw in a Wolf Guard to be safe, and we will throw in some damage against the Psychic. Which might seem counterproductive, but considering we want the Angel out first, we're just focusing her indirectly. Or it, indirectly I should say. Throw down some heals, just for extra recovery. Anthem of Hope for extra protection, Prayer Protection, there we go. And now, let's see, what do we do? Okay, we were gonna go to... Let's do a Ray of Frost on the... can we take out the Knights? Doesn't look like it, so we're gonna have to focus the Psychic, I think. Although, if we can take out the Knight, that'd be pretty good. Well, we can get about 150 damage, so we'll have to keep that in mind. Alright, Mana Gem, Rain. We'll get the battery going. Transmission should go to Magnus, because he will need it for giving everybody block, mainly. Ah, the poison going in clutch, nice. Okay, we be patient, and... Ah, a lot of damage. And a lot of debuffs, jeez. Alright, let us throw down a Find Weakness. Alright, all monsters heal 28, grant 2. Okay, so we're going to want to focus them now. So we're going to throw Uproot twice, get a Shrapnel shot in there. Let's get adrenaline. We will get expert tracker on Evelyn. Let's save the electricity manual for later. Transmission can stay. There we go. We won't be able to use that shot, but that's fine. We can have Magnus beef up everybody. With a Citadel. We can get a... Let's get a challenging shout going. So 350 for focus. And now the Angel is very vulnerable to damage. Which is good. That's the aim. Okay, we will use a meditate. We will detox Magnus. Then we will Spark of Life everybody. Twice over for extra regen. Healing Rain. And because none of the healers are needed, we can just save those for later. Ah, meteorites. What a time. Alright, we won't be able to use meteorites, so that does suck. But that's fine. We can get away with a cold spark, I suppose, or charge battery. Let's use charge battery. There we go. Cold spark, charge battery, charge battery. Then we throw down a beefer for Magnus, and double down with the Dark Ritual. And there we go. Evelyn should have 10 mana by the end of it, which is good. Alright. Oh, Angel managed to get out of death range, but that's fine. We can arrange to change that. In fact, if we just wait, it should be fine, but I think death is better. So we should probably kill the Angel while we have the chance. Damaged by other... Okay, so no. We can't attack him, because otherwise it's just going to make it worse. Instead, what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to use Maneuver. Let's see. We're going to want to focus the Monk next. Or no, we got to focus the Psychic, as much as I hate to do so. Alright, we get the Deflect going. We can get the Poison going off if we so desire. But I think we go with Find Weakness. Then we throw down a Hunter's Mark. Go with a Shadow Step. And we either choose between... Nope, we go with Shadow Step and we go with Shrapnel Shot. There we go. Get another Deflect going, and we're Barrage, which we can't use. Oh. Okay, I guess Valiant Defender is the only thing I get. Oh well. Okay, from here, thankfully we do have enough Dispel to get rid of everything. So we're going to immediately use this to get rid of all of our negatives. We can then throw in some healing for Andrin. Then we can throw down a heal for Magnus in case he needs it. But otherwise we should be fine. And thankfully, slowly but surely, our powerful stacks are increasing, so that's good. That's the benefit of Reginald's build, I suppose. Rain, 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 rain. Okay, nothing else beneficial from Evelyn, unfortunately, but that's par for the course sometimes. Especially when you have 5 rains in your deck. There's just going to be some times that you just do that, I suppose. And of course, the Angel is healing over time, so that's not good. Okay, let's just weakness the Angel and just pelt her. Why not? There we go. Didn't even have a chance to trigger its offhanded effects because we outdamaged before it could apply. Which is good, which is good. Saves us the trouble of actually having to worry about the healer now. Now that does leave the Monk, so we will have to address that. But that's an easy fix, I think. Go with Barbed Wire. We'll get the provoke going. We will throw down the butchering. And we will double down the bleed on the knight, actually, because it has a higher bleed. Ah! He's trying his best to get as much healing as possible before things get awry. Unfortunately for him, that isn't going to work. He's just lost all of his healing. Healing rain. There we go. And now we wait patiently. Okay, so for this, we're going to want to spell Echo immediately. We'll then Elemental Bolt. We'll then spell Echo again to get an Elemental Bolt again. And then we throw down a Shock Nova, an Elemental Bolt on this dude, Mana Gem, Prismatic Field for everybody's buffer. That way we get a massive powerful one Reginald as well, which is nice. Deflect, deflect, find weakness. We will go with a Shadow Step, Shrapnel Shot, and Bane. There we go. And we'll just barricade, barbed wire, transfusion, howl, howl, and double out in the bleed. 242, nice. Alright, and that just leaves us with a Prayer of Healing, which will recover most of our health. Get a heal off, Divine Grace for extra recovery, Innervate for Evelyn to get that kill. We'll get a Spark of Life going just to get everybody healed up and ready to go for the next fight. And off to kill the knight. With a Meteorite. Why not? Boom. Okay. This is the last card that we're going to be able to get, so we have to choose wisely. Ice Comet's nice, because it's a nice little damage boost. Scorching Ray's alright. I mean, we're going to need a high damage card, so I guess I could grab it. Because the Meteorite's going to burn, so there's no reason to not grab it, I suppose. I'll grab it for the sake of grabbing it, why not? Bleed out, all monsters, double targets bleed. That's pretty good. Let's grab that, actually. Well, actually, do I? Why not? We have the card space for it. Let's grab Neurotoxin just for the sake of it, and we'll leave the rest for everybody else. Okay, this is the last rest site. Let us rest and recover. We don't need to use any healing spells to risk anything, so it is time for the moment of truth, the boss fight. Wait, did I not? Oh, did I? Okay, I assume I did it right. Yeah, no, I unlocked Bree. Okay, good. You reached the inner sanctum of the obelisk, but it is too late. Any ritual that has been performed here is already over. After a quick glance around the room, you can see the body of a princess behind the altar. It seems she is still alive. Then your eyes focus on a shadowy figure in front of the altar. It is Lord Hanshek. The brooch on his neck glows brightly, and a dark energy emanates from it. He looks at you and gives you a sinister smile. I served under you in the Wolf Wars to protect the kingdom. Why do you betray it now?
Tough luck, Captain. This is beyond you. Although I suppose I should thank you, since it was you who helped me recover the gem in the Wolf Wars. After extensive research, I discovered that with the gem and the blood of an architect, I could have a power greater than Queen Amelia herself, who turned out to be a descendant of the architects. Unfortunately, the Queen has already been out of my reach, but now the Princess. Now at last that power is mine.
And this is the final boss. Get ready for a, get ready, because it's quite the fight. We'll start with Vigilance and Song of Celerity like we usually do. What we need to do right now is not to use mana, but to conserve and prepare. So we're going to use Serrated Weapons and Shadow Step to beef up. And let us organize everybody in defensive positions. So we'll use an Entrench, a Provoke, a Block, a Barbed Wire. We'll get Battle Plan going. And we will prepare Enrage and Wolfguard for later. For next round. For Reginald, it's basically just do what he does best. So Meditate for mana, Regen. We'll get an Innervate on Magnus, because we want him on block duty. We'll get Anthem of Hope going and Spark of Life. We don't need to use the heal, so we'll save that for later. And now for Evelyn. She's going to be an interesting case. So let's see. Let's use Mana Gem to start with, so we have extra mana. Let's use Shifting Scroll to get a Rain. And what are we going to discard? We're going to discard the... I guess we discard the Cold Spark. This way we can use Ray of Frost, we can use Elemental Bolts, we can use Charged Battery, Rain, and we can save up with mana, with the Mana Gem, just so we get some damage out. Okay, so a gimmick with this character. First stage. You need to defeat the Shadow Clones. That is the gimmick. If you want to defeat the Shadow Clones, the best way to do so is usually through just combinations of multiple attacks against the enemy, or just a focused assault. Usually it depends on what you want to do, but ultimately killing the Shadow Clones takes priority over Lord Handshake. But if you can, deal damage to him offhandedly when his Shadow Clones are distracted. So things like bleed or poison are really good against him. That is usually his gimmick and usually what you need to do to defeat him. So we'll start with a Hunter's Mark on the first guy, just because there's no particular order you need to focus on. We'll go with an Adrenaline just to get mana. We'll use Maneuver, throw in the multi-shot for extra damage. We'll use Toxic Rain, Uproot, Adrenaline to get more mana, and it's at this point you can decide to use Neurotoxin, but I'm going to save it for later because Barrage is way better here. So I'm going to spam it against the front, which will deal a lot of damage. From here, we want to focus on Magnus and his blocking. We will save away the Barbed Wire, Transfusion, and keep the Blood Feeding just in case, but everything else can go. Alright, done. Now his clones go, which makes sense. And with Magnus healing quite a lot, we should be fine. Because he's going to get a lot of block at this point, so let's Enrage. We want to use Shield Wall, I think? Yeah, we use Shield Wall here. Then we follow up with Wolfguard for a high defense buff. Then we use a Blood Feast to heal. Alright, the Powerful and Burn comes from Reginald is coming in clutch. We will get some Healing Rain going for the occasion. For the Holy Symbol, we want to focus on Magnus, I suppose, because he's going to need the most of it. We will use... Do we want to use Profane here? We got the mana, let's use Profane against the one in the front. And then we will use Mass Dispel to get rid of any negative effects. And let's continue. Ah, right, the 19 Sharp. That's going to get really crazy with Andrin. Alright, first and foremost, we're going to want Spell Echo. That is going to double down, so we're going to want Elemental Proliferation now. We then use Shock Nova to double down on the damage there. We then use Spell Echo again, and then throw in another Shock Nova. And with a Rain and Evocation on our side, we use another Shock Nova. That way the damage is significant against all the targets. Of course, this does sacrifice the chance to use things like Meteorite or whatnot, but considering the benefits of taking out so much damage against these guys, it's not that bad. Okay. For this, we're going to want to use Poison Flask on Lord Handshake. This is prep for the near future. We'll use a few deflects. We will then use Find Weakness on this Shadow Clone, but we will use Uproot to get poison just barely enough to take out the Shadow Clone here. There we go. Okay, from here, what we want to do is we want to use Enrage to get more mana. We'll use Valiant Defender, follow up with a Blood Rage to get the Citadel effect, which we'll use to buff up everybody. Then we follow up with Captain's Howl, and the defenses on Vulnerable are going like crazy here, which is good. Okay, we follow up with a Healing Rain, and I think Prayer of Healing is the best choice here, but we should be able to make do without it. But I'll use it anyways, because extra healing. As for Magnus, we just detox and we good. Ah, yes. Meteorite and Ice Comet. Ah, yeah. That's the thing. Okay, so let us start with the one in the back, I suppose? Yeah, we'll do Meteorite here. Then we'll do Meteorite on the guy in the front. Then we'll Rain on their parade. Do a shock here. Prismatic Field to buffer. And now we wait for Lord Handshake's turn. And, yep, he is now in the next stage. Of course, he won't activate it just yet, I do believe. Yep, he needs to wait for his turn next before he can do so. So, in order for that to go by, we are going to start by just pelting him down. We'll get some Shadow Step, Shrapnel Shot going. We'll get the Deflect going. Yeah, that'll do. Alright, we throw down a Entrench here. Get some block here. Barbed Wire. Intimidate, and there we go. And he's gonna start getting a bit crazy here. Ah, yep, he's activated his second ability. Every time he is hit, he deals 6 points of fire damage, and he applies 1 fire and 1 dark. It's a nasty effect. In order to counter it, I've been saving up Mass Dispel for this very reason. So we're going to use that real quick. Gonna get Focus Heal set up. And now he can't do really much. Not yet, anyways. We're going to want to use Mana Gem twice, I believe. Just to beef up ourselves. We will use Dark Ritual on Andrin, I believe. We'll then use Transmission on Andrin again. We'll use Transmission on Magnus. And we'll use Charge Battery to deal some more damage on Handshake. And this is only when he hits, mind you. So he's only going to apply that when he hits. So that's good. Alright. Let's see, what do we want to do here? We're going to want to find weakness. Let's grab some more cards. I'd say we use Shadow Step, Shrapnel Shot. Then we follow up with a Bane to double up poison. Multi-shot for extra damage. And we'll Shadow Step just to be safe. We let Magnus take some hits. He'll be fine though because he has a lot of block currently. Of course we're going to need to fix that at some point, but that's fine. Okay, we're going to barricade everybody, get some more AC. Alright, how do we want to do this? We can... I guess we Piercing Howl to weaken him up. We will then use Blood Rage to get more mana. We will make him bleed out to double his bleed. And then we will siphon the blood. And we're going to continue to double his bleed damage and poison damage to make him as weak as feasibly possible. Or at least that's the hope. We will Divine Grace. We will Healing Rain to get rid of the fire. We will then follow up with a Prayer Protection. Get some more AC going. Okay! Ice Comet! Double down with Ice Comet. Then we're going to follow up with a... Do we have a lightning spell? No. We can double down with some Dark Ritual. We'll get the Cold Spark going. Prismatic Field for extra defense. And how is our things going? Yep, we don't need to use Electricity Manual just yet. Ah, perfect. We have enough for Barrage. But first, find weakness. Then we do another Deflect combo here. And we are given Neurotoxin, but we don't need that just yet. So we're going to double Barrage. Or we're going to use Barrage to increase the bleed, which is going to make things a lot better. Then we'll double down on the Poison to get to 53 Poison, which will increase the bleed as well. Alright, from here we use Challenging Shout. That way our Mitigate is helping. We got Taunt going, and we got Barricade. We'll use Battle Plan to see if there's anything interesting. We will save Entrench and Blood Rage for later. This way we can use Piercing Howl, Butchering freely, and Bleed Out to double down the poison again. Which is going to be 478 poison at this point. Which is insane. Alright, we're going to get an Anthem of Hope going. We will get Innervate going on Evelyn. And we'll get a Barrier on Magnus for extra protection. For here, we're going to want to use the Elemental Barrage twice. We will throw down an Electricity Manual to reduce the cost of the Elemental Bolt, which we draw immediately and can use immediately. We will then follow up with a Dark Ritual to increase Evelyn's mana, and we'll leave the rest. Ah, Pain. He's going ham, he's pissed, he's angry. Alright, we follow up with a Find Weakness to increase his weakness to 11, which is making his weakness to electricity 95, or negative 95, which is fantastic. We follow up with Deflect, another Deflect. That'll give us Lethal Shot, which we don't need, so we'll just do a Shadow Step, Bane for 153 damage. Which is insane. Alright, let's get a Blood Rage going. This way we can remove the 17 bleed we got. We can throw down a Barricade, we can get an Entrench going, and Blood Feed for extra healing. Perfect. And now, with Reginald on the play, we can throw down a Anthem of Hope again, and we should be good. To here, we haven't got enough mana for this, so we're just going to use Elemental Bolt here. It's the cheapest we got, and we can do a Dark Ritual again to get more mana. We'll do a Prismatic Field to get us to 7 mana. And the Charge Battery will bring us to 7 mana regardless, so it's a free card cost. We let him go crazy with his Hellfire and all that jazz. Damage is coming in, but that's fine because we got insane amounts of block. And we can throw in a Poison Flask if we so desire, but I think we're just going to use the Neurotoxin at this point. Alright, we'll Deflect, but we'll just use a Shrapnel Shot for more bleed, and we'll end turn. For this, Magnus is next. We can just, I guess... Let's Transfuse, Bleed out. Alright, he's now at 182 bleed, which is fantastic. Let's just put the barricade and butchering away. We will get the blood rage going, and blockade for everybody, for extra defense. Alright, we go with Innervate to increase Evelyn's mana to 7, then give Magnus some healing. And then we can just follow up with a nice comet, because why not? 2 of them doesn't hurt. He's now at 40 HP, but he dies. Well, once it reaches his point. He tries to go invisible, he uses his Disintegrate, Inferno, but it's not enough. He is now down. Oh. And this is the actual final boss. Yeah, no. He's been a puppet all this time. Unfortunately for him. But that's fine. What we need to do is we need to take out the Archon as quickly as possible, because he's about to do something that we're going to hate. But that's fine. We'll live. Okay. Let us draw... Let's keep the challenging shout and Wolfguard, I guess. Alright, we'll leave the challenging shout for next time. We will get the piercing howl next time. We'll focus on everything else though. So barbed wire it up, get Magnus on defense duty, piercing howl, and we'll double down on the bleed, just to make sure we get stacking. Alright, for Reginald, we are going to want to... I think we're fine on everything, so we just want to protect from evil, and detoxify we'll leave alone for now. We just want to get that protection up for now. Okay, for here we want to use the mana gem here. We'll use Ray of Frost, then we'll use another mana gem to get our buffer up. Then we'll Shifting Scroll for a charge Cold Spark, I guess. That way we can get rid of the rain for now, and then Cold Spark it up, and then we can give a buffer to Magnus for when he gets a block spell. Or card, rather. And now we have the gimmick of the final boss fight. You die when you reach 0 doom. So what is important is you use Martyrdom. What I normally tend to do with Martyrdom is I swap between Magnus and Andrin, and Evelyn and Reginald, because they are the closest organized. So what you do is you click on the person that you want to give Martyrdom. They will suffer slow, but at the same time they are getting 2 stacks to their Doom Charge. You want to keep in mind what Doom Charges you have in what card, because sometimes this boss can be a bit tricky with them. But that is a worry for a later date. For now, what you want to do is you want to focus on the Shadow Clone that has just spawned, and make sure that he doesn't cause any trouble or havoc. Alright, for Magnus, we want to lose the... No, I think... Alright, we lose the Piercing Howl, I think. There we go, that'll do. Because he's got 9 mana, and we'll get the maneuver prepared for next turn. Alright, Wither's coming in. Okay. Bad Mujo. Alright, let's get the Citadel going. That'll give everybody a big defensive buff. We'll get a Blood Rage going, and a Rage. That way we get Shield Wall, which we're not going to use just yet. Instead, we're going to use Challenging Shout. And we're going to pass this Martyrdom back to Andrin. So we basically juggle between 2 heroes every single time. That way we know which card is going to where. Now for the damage that's being outputted. That's not good. We have to, Reginald has to be on heal duty like crazy for this. So the best way is usually just give Magnus some defensive buffs. We'll get Healing Rain going. I really should have used Prayer of Healing, but Ah well. We got enough regeneration that we should be fine. Okay. Now for the biggin. It seems like we got the combo, so that's good. Let us start with Spell Echo. That way we can get the Echo of Meteorite going. Alright. Spell Echo specifically specifies spells. This doesn't specify what it is, but we will worry about it in a minute. Instead, we want to focus on the Shadow Clone, I'm thinking, to start with. We'll then Spell Echo again for another Meteorite. And then follow up with yet another Meteorite to take out the clone immediately. Then we follow up with a Charged Battery. We'll get the Electricity Manual, which fails, but ah well. It cleans up the deck. And we can give the boost to Reginald now. Okay, here we go. From here we've got the block, but we want to save up the taunts and fortifies as much as possible. So we're going to Enrage, we're going to Barricade, we are going to Butcher, I think? Yep, Butcher. We will Transfuse to lose the blood loss and bleed out to increase his damage output, or increase the damage he takes. Alright, we throw down a Toxic Rain, get some deflects going, so that way we can get Serrated Weapons, Shadow Step, we'll get a Martyrdom on Magnus now. Okay. And then we Shadow Step, and we save our mana for the Barrage, if we can. If not, it's fine. We'll manage. Ah, Pain. Yeah, no, he's really going ham with the damage, so we gotta keep that in mind. So what we're gonna do is, for mana, I think we go with Evocation. Actually, no, we go with Shock Nova, because that's gonna slow him down. This way, we can get another Shock Nova off, and we don't have to worry about our mana costs. So, Shock Nova, Rain, and we can get Transfusion on, I guess, Magnus for extra mana, and we'll leave it at that. Although that said, I should probably focus on Andrin. Alright, let's give the boost to Evelyn. There we go. Now her Doom stacks are buffed up. As for us, we're going to want to use a beefed up Spark of Life for healing purposes. And Magnus didn't even get a heal, so we're just going to give him the barrier. So there we go. Oh, perfect. We've got Adrenalines. Alright, Find Weakness. We're going to use Lethal Shots, so we get a card back. We'll use Uproots. We'll get some Adrenaline going. And we should be fine. We don't need to use Neurotoxin just yet. Alright. From here, we're going to use Valiant Defender. That'll boost up our blocks a bit. We're going to get Entrench going. We will beef up Andrin with more Doom stacks. We will Intimidate and Blood Feed to recover our health. And there we go. Alright. For this, we're going to want to beef up Evelyn's mana. Let us use Anthem of Hope, Healing Rain. We don't need to heal anymore, so we can use Prayer Protection here. We're going to use Spark of Life here. That way we get it back, and we can save it in our deck. Alright, Martyrdom, we want to give that to Reginald, so he has 5 stacks again. And it appears we have another Martyrdom, so we're going to have to save that for later. For now, though, we can use Ice Comets and just spam that for later. Oh, right, Mirror of Cassandra. Okay. That's the reason why I duplicated. Okay. That is a mistake on my end. Oof. Should have used the missile first. My mistake. Ah well. Okay. Let us give the Doom stack to Magnus next. From here, we are going to use Poison Flask. Gonna follow up with a Deflect, Alright, we got a stack. We got a sad. We're going to use that before we use Shadow Step. And then we'll barrage the heck out of the Archon. That will boost our damage. And it will boost our bleed against him. Which is nice. Alright. So, as you can see, there is now boosted martyrdoms. This is not good. He occasionally gives us additional martyrdoms. The best thing to do is just to ignore them, or give them to other people that you know you're not going to use. This is why I've got Battle Plan in play, so that I can just ignore some of these cards that I don't need. So I'm going to put Entrench, and I'm going to put Captain's Howl for later use. We'll get rid of the Sad. We'll get Barricade going, so we get a big defensive buff. Then we can Blood Feed, and I recover back. And there we go. From here, it seems like the only thing I got is Charged Battery, so that is downside, but we can use this to my advantage. So I'll start with the Charged Battery, then I'll follow up with another Charged Battery. I'll use Prismatic Field to beef us up, get Magic Gem going. We'll use Rain. I'll use Transmission to give... let's give Magnus some more mana, and go from there. Okay, Martyrdom, we give that to Evelyn. Give her some more defense. We'll then Meditate. That we get Healing Rain again, twice over. We can then use Heal on Andrin, and Barrier on Reginald, just in case he needs it. We'll save the Divine Grace for later. Oh, man. It is a tough fight, though, I must admit. Alright, for here, we want to find weakness again. Keep him at vulnerable 11. That is basically the goal. From there, we're going to use the Shadow Step Shrapnel Shot trick. That will give us a chance to use Poison Flask. And while I could use Deflect here, I'm not going to. Instead, I'm just going to focus on boosting Magnus up. And that way, our cards aren't going to be as affected. Alright, we follow up with Entrench. We boost up Andrin. Captain's Howl. And Butcher to give more bleed. Okay. From here, I can use Mass Dispel if I wish. But I'm going to instead use... I could use Celestial Brilliance. No. Let's use Prayer of Healing first. Then we'll use Mass Dispel. And then we'll follow up with a Spark of Life. Just to give everybody regen, which passes on to everybody. Which is good. Okay, from here we can use... Let's use Elemental Bolt twice. There we go. Then we can throw down a Dark Ritual to give to Andrin, to give him more mana. We then use Sad, and then use the Rain, and then we'll use Martyrdom to give Reginald his beef up. And now, yeah, the Archon's miffed, I would assume. He is slowly debuffing himself, which is annoying, but that's par for the course. I'm kind of used to it at this point. Alright, what we're going to do is we're going to Barrage to start with. And then what we're going to do is we're going to follow up with, I want to say, a Bane. But first let's see if we can... Yep, we can get a Shadow Step to increase the damage. That doesn't double down, it seems, but that's fine. We'll live with our mistakes. Or we'll live with it. Alright, Magnus, we want to first deal with the Martyrdom. We'll then do the Shield Wall. We'll transfuse as many bleed... Well, we can't, so never mind that. I guess we'll try, but well. Okay. He's trying his best to remove all the bleed and poison effects, but it's not doing him wonders. Ah, perfect. Ice Comet. We'll use that. We'll get, I guess, Elemental Proliferation, I guess. We'll throw that down. We'll get rid of the Sad, and we will pass the Martyrdom over to Reginald? No, let's focus the Martyrdom on her, because she does need a buffer. Because she does have an extra one there, so, E. Alright, we're going to use the Martyrdom on Evelyn. Get her down to 7. Now we have a choice of using Profane against him, which I think is the best choice here. So we'll suffer Sad, and we'll get rid of that healing he has in favor of it. Okay, we now have a choice of what we can do, but we're going to just increase the barrage, so we'll just keep pelting him with bleed damage. We need to make sure we don't use the special martyrdom. We just need to use the normal martyrdom. And we're now at a point where we could probably take out the boss without using martyrdom. If we need to, that is. For now, though, we're going to Blood Rage. We will provoke, barricade, and we are going to Butcher. And I'll just use it once more on Andron. For Evelyn and Reginald, they're a different case, so we're just going to have to keep going with that. For now, though, what we can probably do is we can innervate with Evelyn. We'll Spark of Life everybody. And no need for anything else except for removing poison, I think. Yeah, that should do it. We will Dispel when we get the chance with Reginald. Alright, we can get away with Elemental Bolts, I suppose. We will get a Dark Ritual on Evelyn. We'll get a Charged Battery going. And I guess boost up Reginald like crazy. Get him to a 7. Done. Let him go nuts on his conversions and all that, but he's slowly dying, which is the good thing. We go with a Find Weakness. We get a Deflect going. We now have a Bane. We'll leave the Martyrdom for now, so we'll get the... Okay, so we don't want... Do we want to double this with a 62, or do we want a 66? We'll go with 66 to get more poison and bleed. Because that's a bit better. Alright, what we're going to want is we're going to want Entrench immediately. That is a given. We'll use Sad. We'll get Battle Plan going. Let us put... We want Bleed Out. Yeah, we'll put Bleed Out and Blood Feeding. Well, if we use Blood Rage, then we should be fine, but... In that case, we're going to want Martyrdom and Blood Feeding for later. We'll use Blood Rage, we'll double his bleed, and we'll transfuse whatever we got. Which I should have done first, but... Ah well. It don't matter. The point is, we can get more damage out. Ice Comet, done. He's now at 21... He's a very cold boy. Alright, we can get a massive Mass Dispel here, so we're going to do that. And... We'll just give one of the buffers to Evelyn. We don't need to double down. And yeah, even if we are slower, we should be able to take him out now with relative ease. Alright, we follow up with a Neurotoxin. Get Deflect going. Remove the Sad. And let's see. We can get an Entrench going, get a Barricade, and we leave that, and then we get Reginald. What do we got? We'll go with the Prayer of Healing. We'll get Innervate on Evelyn, Anthem of Hope, and we will get rid of Sad. And now for Evelyn's Master of Magic, we will Elemental Bolt like crazy. We'll Charge Bolts. Dark Ritual for the mass amount, and we should be able to Ice Comet him down next turn, assuming he doesn't die already. But yeah, Let's see. Does he die? He dies. And that is the boss.
This is a story of how they saved me.
And with that, we have completed normal difficulty on Across the Obelisk. On our OG group, I should specify. We are given a plethora of items of unlocked cards, which is nice. Whether we use them or not, I'm not sure, but they are now open for access now. We managed to get 2 perk points for it, and that's our final score. Now, what we're probably going to do next stream, we're definitely going to be playing a new game. We're going to try Heiner, Thullus, Cornelius, and Otis again. We're going to try and get them to beat the game. And then we'll probably move over to these groups of individuals, which I'm going to have to test out at some point, but once I got a rough idea of what they do, I'll figure it out. But that's besides the point. Let's first level up our characters, or at least get rid of the ones that we had originally. And we're going to rock the Cornelius crew instead. And we're going to set them up for next run. Alright, so let's see. Well, when it comes to the tank builds, usually bleeds to go to. What do I go with this time, though? Well, if I know the tank build here, it's probably going to be shield. I need to check the cards, hold on. Alright, cards. We're looking for warriors. Alright, 6 cards. Alright, 5. Oh, it doesn't even go in order. That's annoying. Okay, that's annoying. I can't really see any, that's a really annoying mechanic. You can't really sort the cards. Oh wait, hold on. Alright, let's see. Block. Alright, we got Barricade, we got Challenging Shout, Citadel, Bouncing Shield, which purges block, which is not good. Okay, Coat of Arms, Do It Yourself, Entrench. Entrench provides a shield buff, actually. Okay. So if you're using Entrench, or you're using... Okay, so... Entrench gives a shield, it appears, which is interesting. Okay. What also gives shield? In the block category. Not much, actually. Okay, so Entrench is apparently a very good spell when it also gives shield. That is interesting. It's an offhanded thing, I must admit. But most of the time, you're usually focusing on Fortify, Mitigate, and Block, it seems. There is Steel Skin, which does support shield, it seems. But then there's also things like Thorns and all that. Okay, so usually the best course of action for any block build seems to be just focusing Thorns or any block material, or even bleed, if you can get it. Okay. In that case, what do we want to do for Heiner, then? Okay, Heiner's built to be like a bona fide tank and just taunt. So we want to have him heal alongside that if we can. Charges that you apply +1. Yeah, we don't want that. Elemental, we'll leave that. Physical. I think we go with Thorns, honestly. As odd as that sounds. We're gonna get Block as well. Thorns on this hero instead deal holy damage. Thorns on this hero do not lose charges when hit. That's impressive, actually. Thorns on heroes do not lose charges when hit. That's actually really good. We're going to grab that. Alright, Fortify. Fortify on this hero can stack and increases blunt fire damage by 1 per charge. This hero gains 1 Fortify on their first turn. Fortify on this hero cannot be purged unless specified. Or Fortify on heroes also grant 5 block per charge at the end of the round. Let's grab that. And Taunts. We'll leave the taunt for now. And yeah, that seems good. At least to me. We get a nice Fortify, and we can get like Thorns as a build going, or at least try to. And for this, we can just get some more HP, I suppose. Alright, that is our tank build for Heiner now. Thullus, who is a poison build master. We're going to want him focusing on poison and vulnerable as per usual. Okay. Maximum charges on vulnerable enemies increases by 1. Charges are instead reduced by 1 at the end of the turn. I think we want this because it will actually reduce the amount of charges lost, which is actually a better thing. Okay. So we're focusing on poison, and we want it to keep poisoning, so keep on that. Alright, we're gonna want the All Resistances perk. Do we want anything else beyond there? If we do apply Sharp, then we're gonna want to increase the damage. Alright. Sharp on heroes do not lose charges at the end of the turn and cannot be purged unless specified. Sharp on heroes also increases shadow damage by 1 per charge. Alright, let's get Sharp, and we're gonna keep it permanent, because having permanent Sharp is actually really good. Alright. Okay, so we don't lose charges when Thorns are hit. Sharp on heroes do not lose charges at the end of the turn and cannot be purged unless specified, which is good. And now we've got 3 coins left on whatever we want to do. I think the best course of action is to get fast, strictly because we can then get our bardic music beginning to benefit everybody. We'll set that up, unless we want to go with the stealth benefits. Stealth on the heroes increase damage and healing done by 25% per charge. Stealth on this hero does not lose charges at the start of the turn. Stealth on heroes also increases all resistances by 5 per charge. I'll save that for later. We're going to go with poison DPS with this build, which will allow us to get some sharp benefits, which is nice. That'll increase our damage output. Cornelius is going to be an interesting case, because fire damage, obviously. If we can stack up the powerful effect, that's going to be pretty nice. We're going to want to increase the charges that apply instead. Alright, physical, we don't need. Not that I'm aware of anyways. We should be fine with just fire. And what else do we want to benefit from? I think we want more initial energy cost, I think. Let's check the cards, actually. Hold on. Alright, combustion. Combustion, we want to... I mean, it applies fire, obviously. Preferably, we want to get our burn stacks as high as possible. We can get disintegrate, which applies electricity as well, but we shouldn't need that. Elemental bolt is a staple, now that I've used it a lot. Especially if it's a... especially if it's a... Well, it really depends on what one you want, really. But they're staples, really. Okay, fireballs are easy burns at the side. Flame strikes are nice against all monsters, so... A flame strike might actually be a good staple card against monsters. Especially if it applies, like, 11 burn against everybody. Even if its cost is reduced a little bit, but yeah, that's a good choice. Firestorm is also a viable one, which has a repeat for 18 fire damage, assuming we get more fire burn. So Firestorm's decent in that regard. Flares are okay for cheap costs. Geyser is interesting. Grimoire Flame. I think that's going to be a staple for fireballs. Okay. Alright, what else? What else? There's Heat Waves, which applies 3 burn to all monsters. Yeah, no. If we're gonna grab Heat Wave, we should definitely upgrade it to all monsters, if anything. Okay, so that's free burn cards if we wish. Ignites are alright, but they target one person. Immolates are pretty good. X equals... Deal X, apply X. X equals your fire. You suffer X fire. You suffer X burn. If we're dealing with Immolate, I think I want the purple card. As for the blue card here, the blue card is usually the best here. Okay. Meteor Shower. Okay, that's an interesting one. That's a very expensive card, but a very good one, nonetheless. Pyroblast is a good one, which stacks up really good. Scorching Rays is staple. Searing Touch is alright. Okay, so basically fire damage like crazy. Pretty straightforward. What you want is usually you just want beefy fire. I can either apply more charges, I can also increase speed. Alright, burn on this hero also increases speed by 1. Burn on enemies deals cold damage and reduces fire and cold resistance by 3 per charge. So wait, burn on enemies deals cold damage and reduces fire and cold resistance by 3 per charge. Interesting. So if you go with the cold... So I could go a fire cold build if I wanted to. I'm kind of tempted to see what that would do. Hold on, let's check the cards. Alright, cold on mages. Cold applies -1 speed per 5 charges, which is interesting. Or it's pretty useful, I should state. So that is an option, if we so desire. Let's see. If we get Ice Comet, we can apply a lot of ice stacks, if we so desire. There is also the option of cold resistance itself, with crack and all that. Geyser transforms cold into water, which is not that good for the build that we're going for. Icicle applies 1 ice. Rains applies wet, which is not good. Wait, wet increases the fire damage. Prevents 1 burn. Okay, so rain is not that good for this build, but ice is actually really good. Shatter. Deal 10 plus X, apply X. X equals targets chill by half. I kind of want to try an Ice Fire Mage. Why not? Let's try it. Winter's coming. Transform wet into 3 times its chill. Jeez, that's insane. Squall, eh. Yeah, there's water jets, winter orbs, yeah. So if you go with the wet ice build, then it's viable. But you can do the ice fire as well as an option. I think it might be in our best interest to go. Yeah, let's go an ice fire mage. Why not? It's interesting enough. I'm gonna give it a go. Alright, cold damage, chill, cold. Oh, we can get a powerful upgrade if we so desire. Powerful on this hero increases damage and healing done by 10% per charge and loses all charges at the end of the turn. Powerful maximum charges on this hero is increased by 2. Charges are instead reduced by 1 at the end of the turn. Charge you apply plus 1. Okay, let's grab that. That way we get plenty of powerful charges if we so desire. And let's get more chill. Actually, let's take off powerful. And let's focus on the cold. Alright. Chill on enemies instead reduces speed by 1 per 4 charges. Chill on this hero instead reduces speed by 1 per 8 charges. Also grants 1 reinforce per 14 charges. I think we want to also reduce the blunt resistance. Which is going to be kind of odd, but do we want to? No, I think we go with the reduced speed. I think that's going to be the priority here. If we reduce that, then we should be able to get away with... Yeah, if we get rid of the cold, then we can focus on getting all resistances plus 6 as well. I'll just call it the Ice Fire Mancer. It's a crude name, but it'll do. As for Otis, I think he'll be fine as he is. We'll just get him the all resistance up. As for his elementals, he's fine, I do believe. We'll just give him the charges apply plus 1. Inspire will be left alone, I think. Mystic, we're definitely going to want to take off Bless here. We will definitely grab the heals on the side for Gen. And what else do we want? Courage is fine. We don't need Insulate because he doesn't apply those. Do we want Inspire? If so, what? This hero grants 1 Inspire at the start of combat. This hero is immune to stress now. Okay. Instead, what I could probably do is Sight or something. Buffer is pretty good. Stealth is not so good. I guess I could start pumping into healing as well. That is an option. At the very least, the healing wouldn't be that bad, so the recovery wouldn't be as bad. Is there anything else I can do? I could apply Vitality, but I don't usually do that, so let's just beef up the healing done. Alright, True Healer. There we go. And that is Otis done. This will be our rank 2 group that we... Well, this will be our group for next time, most likely, so now that I've gotten prepared, I guess we figure out what difficulty we want to go. We can select a difficulty if we wish. Alright, monsters are stronger and their abilities have improved. We get Exhaust, Monster Max HP per act respectively. And even worse difficulties. Jeez. Town Armory item rerolls limited to 1. Hero starting energy -1. Ugh, this is disgusting. Yeah, no, it slowly gets more crazy. You know what? I think we go with Madness difficulty 1 and start with there. Even if it's just a small boost, I think it's going to be nice. Let's go Madness 1. But I digress. I think I'm going to end it here because we don't need to go into this game just yet, but yeah. Next time, we're going to be going in with Heiner, Thullus, Cornelius, and Otis, I think. And we're going to go Madness 1 to see how it is. I'm not sure if it's going to be good, not sure if it's going to be bad, but hey, I guess we'll see, won't we? But I digress. For those of you on YouTube, like, subscribe, comment, hit the bell notification if you want to see more of my stuff. I stream daily, so if you want to catch my streams, you can catch me 3 to 7 MST time. For those of you on, well, if you want to catch my streams on Twitch, you can check it down in the link or description below. It's right there, so if you want to click that link, which is at the bottom, I believe, then it should take you to my Twitch page. If not, you can check me out at FYMyPawn at Twitch, which is my username. Now, if you are from Twitch, or those of you are from YouTube from going to Twitch, follows are always appreciated. The more follows I have, the more content I can give you guys. If you see in the bottom left corner of the screen, you can see that there is a little bar right there. The more follows I have, up to that 50 mark, I can finally, well, not finally, but I can closely get to the affiliate status. Once I hit 50, I just need to hit 3 concurrent viewers every now and again, and I should be able to get affiliate status, which will allow me to give you guys more stuff. But I digress. If you want to catch my old stuff, you can catch it on the YouTube channel, which should be down below. So if you scroll down a bit, you should see a YouTube button. Just click that YouTube picture, and it will bring you down to my YouTube channel. If not, the best way to do so is just search up FYMyPawn, and that should be it. But I digress. I think that's it. If you want to see my new stuff, you can just check my Twitch. It's always there. It's always prepared, so yeah. I think that's it now. I think that's absolutely it. I'm not forgetting anything. Yep. Okay. I hope you guys enjoyed today's stream. I know I did. And I'll see you guys next stream. Take care, everyone, and have a good day.